your talk show from the campus of Rockingham Community College. I'm Jerry Hunt, Director of Public Information here at the college. Today we have several programs that we'll be talking about. 3 of them are brand new for the fall, and one of them has been underway for a couple of semesters now. With me here is Dr. Trevor Flannery. He's Program Director of Duke Energy Trails at RCC, and he's now Faculty of Environmental Planning and Development, a brand new program. So tell us a little bit about this new program.
Well, for this applied associate degree in science in environmental planning and development, we have 3 tracks. Trying to capture a lot of the different scope of the environmental and recreation fields here in the county. So we have an environmental planning track, which would train students in design work and also a lot of administrative work.
Right. So
that if they're looking to go on to get involved in any kind of administrative or planning or management aspects, usually that would entail going for a 4-year degree.
Right.
But this 2-year degree would be transfer into many other programs. But that one in particular gives you a broader landscape level perspective.
Right, yeah.
We also have an outdoor economy and development trajectory, which is business related, where you're learning the accounting, the marketing, and other things you need to run an outdoor business. So if you were bringing in people, hospitality or tourism,
right.
It would teach you those skill sets that you need to help develop a lot more of the economic impact that we hope to have here in the county around people enjoying our rivers and woods. And then finally we have the trails and outdoor recreation infrastructure, which is more that trail building, picnic shelter, park maintenance, and landscape maintenance, applied work with your hands skill sets.
So that's kind of in line with the continuing education program.
Correct. There's a lot of overlap there, and hopefully they'll feed off each other.
Right.
We are seeing more of our continuing education program work on the planning side as well. And there's really this design and build aspect to the overall program, which I'm pretty excited about, which would be unique for RCC's offerings.
Right. And we're the first community college to even offer something like this.
Correct. Yeah, there's very little even close to this in the state.
Right. So how did that come about? I mean, I know we've had the Duke Energy Trails program in the continuing education portion of our college for a little while now. How did it kind of transform into a degree program?
Well, as part of the grant that Duke Energy provided the community college, it was stipulated that there would be a 2-year degree program.
Okay.
And so what a lot of the basin stakeholders came back with when they designed the initial grant proposal that RCC would eventually get, it was about learning to take care of the assets, the environmental assets, the river, but also learning to help communities prosper and develop their economies relative to that. And so how do you take care of it? But also how do you create those assets, those river accesses, those beautiful trails? How are they to be maintained, paid for? How do you get the marketing to help people from the cities know that it's there?
Right.
And so all those aspects were of concern and kind of targets for our program. And so as we designed the curriculum to kind of capture that and train students for that, that's where a lot of these pieces come.
Yeah. And the continuing education programs, you have brought in people from really far away.
Yeah, we've had them from Illinois, Vermont, Puerto Rico.
That's amazing.
I've had calls from Chile. They didn't actually come.
Right.
But we're working to expand that, and it really is unique on the East Coast. There's a lot more of trail building training you can get out in the mountains of the Rockies and in the West. But in the East Coast, this is an emerging field, the outdoor recreation field. It just creates billions of development. North Carolina being one of the leaders in this part of the country.
Yeah.
And we get so much money from people coming in, and we want RCC and Rockingham County and the whole region to kind of develop in line with that and diversify our economy and create all of these things that even if you live here, you'll want to be around those assets, and that can be real recruiting opportunities for local businesses as well.
Right, yeah. All right.
Because a lot of the new workers that companies want those bike trails, want those hiking trails, and those other amenities that people.
Right. So the continuing education courses, they're just short. They're like 1 to 4 days.
Typically.
And then some of them lead to a certification?
Not yet. We're in discussions with national and state groups that are looking to create a trail building and contracting and assessment and all the different
Yeah,
pieces.
right.
Assessment, and that would give you the certification that you would be able to get employment faster.
Right.
But right now, it's sort of catch-all. You either find a job and learn by doing, or you go to one of these companies and take one of their expensive trainings.
Right.
So RCC is usually unique in that we have the accreditation of an education institution. We have 200 plus acres of
Right.
woods for people to use as part of their training. And then we also have a lot of the relationships nationally with these contractors,
Right.
the top people to train our students.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. With the degree program, how long does that last?
It's a 2-year program.
Okay.
And, but that includes the summer semester as well.
Okay.
And that's where we'll teach you the workplace safety and a lot of trail building out in the field.
Right, okay, all right. So it's what, about a little less than 70 hours for any of the concentrations?
Correct.
All right. Okay, well, I thank you for telling us about this brand new program that's starting up in fall of 2021.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Trevor. All right, we're here with Celeste Elise, Dean of Arts and Sciences here at RCC, and Donata Worrell, Department Chair of Humanities and Social Sciences. I understand there are 2 brand new education programs starting in the fall, the Associate in Arts in Teacher Preparation and the Associate in Science in Teacher Preparation. Tell me a little bit about how these were developed.
So in 2019, the state realized we had a severe shortage of teachers and we needed to take some action. So the legislature began working with the community college system to develop these 2 tracks. And then they were approved just last spring. And at the time they were developed, the president of the system was Peter Hans, who is now the president of the UNC system. So he is working with us on the articulation aspect so that students can transfer the courses easily into a bachelor's degree.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is the purpose of these programs, and how are they different from like our early childhood education program and just the general university transfer programs?
So we have an existing early childhood education program, and that program has multiple tracks. I'll just kind of give the overall idea. There's 2 tracks that allow students to transfer to a university and earn a teaching license birth to kindergarten, or maybe work on behalf of children and for social services or any kind of human development, partners for children. So there are a number of organizations for that. Or students can stay on the career track, which equals our old Associates in Applied Science, which prepares students to go directly into the workforce. So they will take classes about child development, but also about running a daycare center within that track. So those tracks are existing, and this is really focused on the students that want to work with young children, birth to kindergarten. So the teacher preparation focuses on students that want to become teachers elementary through high school. So we're letting the students to get ready to not only take some education courses, I'll talk about that in a minute, but also be able to specialize in a discipline if they want to be a social studies teacher or a science teacher and so on. So the courses within, the difference between the traditional transfer course, AA or AS, and the teacher prep is that although students have the opportunity to take their English and their math and social science and physical science and so on, they are also going to take 4 educational courses, which are Foundations of Education, Teacher License Preparation, Literacy Development, and the first course actually is the Teaching and Learning for All, which allows them to see really what teaching is all about. What does it look like from the teacher's perspective? And another course that they will take is also a required course of sociology, social diversity, which I think is very appropriate and will serve them well.
All right, well, what is the difference between these 2 teacher prep programs?
We have an Associate in Arts and an Associate in Science track that are built from the basic shell of the Associate in Arts and Associate in Science transfer programs that we have now. The purposes are a little different. The Associate in Arts and Teacher Prep is geared more towards elementary education, middle grades, social sciences, language arts, that type of thing. The Associate in Science and Teacher Prep is more towards the STEM fields, high school mathematics, middle school science, that type of thing. The programs are very similar. They have the same education and social diversity classes that Donata referred to. The major difference is that they have to have 2 math classes and 2 science classes for the associate in science, and then fewer social science and language arts kinds of classes.
All right. What opportunities are there for high school students who might be interested in one of these programs?
Well, we have 2 pathways
Mhm.
for the associate in arts and associate in science, and they have 30 hours, as I recall, at least. So there's a lot of classes a student can complete in high school towards this degree, 2 of which are the education classes, which are not part of our general associate in arts and associate in science pathways. We're working on an articulation agreement with the high school because they teach one of the classes in the high school. The one that Donata referred to, the Teaching and Learning for All, is taught in the high school in the teacher cadet program. So we're working very closely with the high schools on articulating that course and getting some students in the pipeline here at the college. One major difference is to qualify for this pathway, they have to be college ready in math and English, which makes it different from a CTE pathway, but a lot of education programs are going to require that level.
Right. Does that mean they need to be seniors, or can it be juniors?
They can be juniors, yeah, but there's a certain GPA requirement primarily to show they're
Right.
college ready.
All right.
So we also have the pathway for early childhood. So there is, students can take courses towards any of the tracks really. So there'll be courses, early childhood education, which is actually required by the state for anybody to work in a childcare facility. So some students may be interested in taking it just to have that qualification. And then childhood, family, and community, 2 child development courses, and a child guidance course. And as Celeste already mentioned, in the teacher prep pathway, students can take from the variety of the general education courses, but then the EDU 187, which is the teaching and learning for all, which they could possibly take on the high school side, and then the EDU 216, which is Foundations of Education, and the social diversity course. So the benefit here is as students are exploring their options, especially in the teacher prep, they can think about what they may want to teach in the future. So as they're completing their general education courses, they may take more history courses, or take the science courses in a sense, or more English related courses, literature courses. So
Well, that's pretty nice, that it's almost tailored to their interests there.
and we work very closely with the students, regardless of what program they choose, to look at their planning to transfer at the baccalaureate degree plans at the university they want to go into.
Right.
So we can advise them within the courses that we when we offer here to have a seamless and a successful transfer down the road.
Wow, well, that's pretty exciting. More opportunities for students who want to be teachers.
And the degree is 60 hours, so they can complete that in fall, spring without any summer requirement.
Right.
So,
Sweet. All right, well, thank y'all too.
thank you.
We are here with Jason Collins. He is Program Director for Emergency Medical Science. You've been here for a little while now.
Almost 5 years.
Wow, and you're a graduate of our program.
I am, yes, back 2008, yeah.
Sweet. All right, well, so we have a brand new degree program in EMS. So tell us a little bit about that, how that
Yes.
came about.
So, I'm very excited to have this program. This program in the community college system has been around for a while, but just haven't offered it here at Rockingham Community College. We haven't seen the need for it, and now we're starting to see a need for it. There's been several more opportunities that a paramedic can do now that's going to require an associate's degree. Along with North Carolina Office of EMS, they have mentioned that they may be requiring an associate's degree in the future to become a paramedic, which is very good for the profession. It's going to progress it, make it in line with other allied health programs that require a degree already,
Right.
make it more marketable. So we're trying to just get a jump start on
Right.
that process and offer more opportunities
Right.
for our students.
Okay. So what are the admission requirements?
Pretty easy to get in. So they obviously fill out a college application. There are some testing requirements that we have to do. I know we have the RISE requirements for the gen ed courses, but for the actual EMS courses, they do have to test in reading and math at a post-secondary level, so college readiness. There's something that's not waived, that's required by the Office of EMS.
Right.
After they do that, they'll provide some more documentation, high school transcripts, the usual college
Right.
entry stuff.
Yeah.
And then after that, they will be able to start the program.
Awesome.
For ones that may not meet the requirements, may need some remediation, we do have a pre-health track as well, which will allow them to take their gen ed courses and maybe some, I think EMS 110, they can take that, which is EMT.
Right.
So in the meantime, while they're getting that remediation.
All right. So how much would it cost somebody to be in this program?
Well, there are some, besides the tuition,
Right.
there are some extra costs. One is that we're required for our clinical sites to have a background check and vaccinations. So they will have to have some money out of pocket for that. And if they need any boosters for the immunizations, they have to get a physical. So there might be some co-pays at the doctor's offices or something like that too. Generally with textbooks, everything anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500, I would say.
Okay, and that includes the tuition?
That includes tuition.
Okay.
But that does not include tuition. I'm
Does
sorry,
not?
let me correct
Okay,
myself.
okay.
That is not, that is the extra fees with the textbooks and everything.
Okay.
I apologize.
All right. And that would cover like the entire program?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what kind of career opportunities are there for people coming through this program, or finishing this program?
More and more every day. Initially, when people think EMS, they think you call 911, you get an ambulance. It is branching to way more than that. They are now working in emergency rooms in hospitals, they are working in doctor's offices, dentist offices,
Wow.
clinical trial centers, sleep centers. Every day something new gets added to it.
Right, wow.
And so the associate's degree in those other healthcare fields is a plus to have, because that's what they look for.
Right,
So having this under their belt will definitely help them get one of those jobs.
right. All right. And you have some continuing education courses too that you offer.
We do. So if someone is interested in a degree program, they can get a jump start on that as well. So we do have some Con Ed programs that allow for different schedules of the courses. Our Con Ed EMT courses are usually night classes with every other Saturday. Relatively a little cheaper than a tuition course, at
Right.
about $250 for the course itself, plus textbooks. And they would waive out of 9 credits in the associate's degree program, so that's one big plus for
Right.
that. That first semester in the associate's degree, they'll be taking 16 credits. And one of them is EMT and it's worth 9, so having that out of the way is a big plus for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But depending on schedules, the EMS 110 will be a daytime course. So, other than that, we offer several different specialties if they already have their EMT. And one good thing about having an EMT already is they can go to work. They can start on ambulance service if they wanted to. They can work in an emergency room while they're finishing their degree.
Yeah.
So that's one plus about that.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, well, is there anything else that I'm not asking about that I should?
Well, one thing I want to mention is that one thing that we are starting as well is the high school pathways for EMS degrees. So as a junior or a senior, they can start taking courses in this pathway. I know the Rockingham County High School already has EMT in the public school system. This just gives another opportunity for those students that might not be able to get into that course,
Right.
or maybe focusing on something else in high school, but want to take EMT as well. They just don't have all the time to do it.
Right.
So, another pathway if they so choose.
Yeah, and that's pretty exciting. I mean, RCC offers so many pathways like that, you know, for high schoolers to, you know, just kind of segue right into the college experience here.
A very good way to get a jump start. I wish I did that in high school.
Well, thank you so much, Jason, for speaking with us today about the EMS program.
Thank you for having me.
We are here with John Ayers. He's our faculty member that is heading up our agribusiness technology program, which has now been underway for...
We're in our second semester right now.
So tell me a little bit about your background to be able to be running this program.
Well, I've been in agriculture all my life. Grew up on an apple farm in southern part of Virginia, went to Virginia Tech, worked for them for a number of years. Came back home and worked with Dad growing apples for about 30 years.
Yeah, neat.
Then transitioned into community college work. Worked at Patrick Henry for about 15 years. Developed an ag business program for them. We also did viticulture and enology for them. But we had some issues up there. They enrollment got low, and they chose to close that program down. And I sort of transitioned here to to try to help with the completion of some horticulture programs that were in place here. In doing that, we have added an ag business program. We written the program, got it approved. And, we got hit with COVID last spring when we were trying to enroll students.
Right.
So we kind of reduced our numbers, but we've been able to hold the classes for the fall and the spring semester, and got students interested in work-based learning for this summer.
Right.
So we've got a couple of students that are going to be doing that. And those students are going to be actively involved with our plant sale that we have the end of this month and the first weekend in May. And what we've got here are some of the examples of some of the stuff that we'll have in our plant sale. I've been working on it for the last couple of months, trying to get an array of different products ready, from flowers to veggies and tomatoes and so forth. So, it's a work in progress. I've worked with ag all my life, grown apples and peaches and cherries and tomatoes and corn and beans, and at ag markets. I currently operate a retail farm market also.
Okay, wow. All right. So what exactly is agribusiness?
Agribusiness is the entire scope of the industries that are associated with agriculture and the sale of those products. It's hard to define because if you're growing peaches, that's an ag business. If you're growing tobacco, that's an ag business. If you've got dairy, that's an ag business. And then all of the support organizations that support those industries. So it's a whole world of industries and services that are supporting the agricultural industry.
So that's even like retail.
Oh, yeah.
Like, feed stores and,
Right,
and
right.
all that.
I've had a couple of young ladies that are currently managers at Tractor Supply. I've had past students that operate dairies. One young man is managing a vineyard down north of Danville.
Nice.
We're trying to give them a basic understanding of agricultural areas, whether it be plant science, animal science, and then we've got marketing and all of the associated support information that is needed to be successful in those areas.
Right.
So
that's it's amazing that it's not just farmers.
It's not.
It's the whole world.
Ag lenders, ag sales, it's just amazing. And we want to provide the basic information for these students to prepare themselves for jobs in those areas.
Right.
And we can't define those areas because some of them don't exist right now.
Right.
But I've got one student now that's sort of an entrepreneurial type fella. He's raising an assortment of animals, and he's got his kids working on the farm. Had a 13-year-old youngster that put together an excavator that he purchased.
Wow.
I thought, he's really preparing these kids for the real world.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's interesting. But ag business, you can't really define it. Webster wouldn't do it, so I can't.
Right. So you kind of touched on some of this, but tell me about like the classes that are in the agriculture program.
All right, we do a sustainable agriculture class, plant science class, animal science class, pest management class, ag chemicals class. There's a variety of them. They're again trying to provide the student with the basic background that will enable them to go into a field of their choice.
Right.
And it's as varied as the individuals that we deal with.
Right, yeah.
We're working with an articulation agreement with A&T. Any of the students that complete our program can transition directly into an ag program at A&T without any loss of credit at all. We're working with NC State in their PAC track program. We've got a little more work to do with that to get it in place, but I think that's going to be a real good option for some of these kids that have visions of 4-year school.
Right, yeah. All right, what are some of the possible jobs available for the graduates?
An array of things. Farm management, ag sales, ag equipment, that's something we didn't touch on, but you need a basic knowledge of what's involved with crop
Right.
production or spraying equipment to be able to do ag equipment sales. Then like I said, we've got farm managers, dairy managers, row crop managers, a vineyard manager. It depends upon the student.
Right.
And as you know, these students are as varied as you know, as they can be.
Right.
But we are able to tailor a program to their interests by picking and choosing the selected topics that we
Yeah,
talk about.
yeah. And all these classes are in the renovated, Rockingham County Farm Bureau Horticulture building that was already on campus.
It was here, and we've added a new greenhouse, state-of-the-art facility that I produce these plants in. It's been a work in progress. We've got some technical issues with different types of, just like you would with any
Right.
new facility.
But that's good, the students are learning.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the sprinkler's not working, how do we fix that?
Exactly,
Mhm.
and it's automated,
Right.
all the controls are automated, so, you
Mhm.
know, it's a little too much automation for me.
Right.
I'd rather be able to tune it down and dial it, but, you know, that's okay. But it's, I'm really optimistic about it, and the folks that we've had, in class, have been excellent. We're working with some of the high school students, there are a couple of those that are taking classes with us,
Right.
and hopefully they'll become full-time students.
Yeah, yet another pathway for the high
It
schoolers
is.
to start
It
early
is.
with
Yeah,
us.
one little lady comes from a farm that's growing beef,
Mhm.
and, you know, I keep harassing her about her marketing of her beef, her advertising. They do it by word of mouth. It's,
Right.
you know, sell a quarter or a half or a whole beef. So,
Right.
you know, but it's, I'm really optimistic.
All right. Well, I thank you for
Yes, ma'am.
joining me here today. And that wraps up our brand new programs that we've got here at Rockingham Community College. Thank you. Man, we've had some good interviews about our programs here at RCC. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel and our TV station for additional information.